Hello and welcome to Witchcraft TV. I'm the Lone Wolf, and we are www.witchcrafttv.online, where we are fair representation of all pagan, witch, and magic paths. And on the phone with me right now, we have Lady Medea from California, who is a prestigious priestess from the very, very old school, I think, with the Dianic traditions. Is that true, priestess?
It's Dianic. It's after Diana, the moon goddess. Yes, I am one of the few that survived the Inquisition, because when they came to Hungary, we still had a lot of mountains, and we receded into our forests. And when they sent the Inquisitors after us, oops, trees fell on them for some reason, and they never made it. So, yeah, Central European witchcraft is what I grew up in. And my mom was a sculptor, and she sculpted ideas and theology into clay. And she was top 2% of female sculptors in my country, who was under the nose of the communists with the religious art. She just created the religious art, pagan religious art. And the peasants came and bought them, and then they put them in their clean room. All the peasants had a special room set aside for use when there was a wedding or a baby born or just a new couple making love. And her altars were on the wall, and they lit candles in front of them, and they prayed to the ancestors, as we always had before. And that's how she made her money post-war. Mm-hmm. It was amazing to me to see that, because it's so much in me. If you come to my house, every nook and cranny is actually, I live in an altar. My whole house is an altar. I have a lot of. At this point, I'm really not happy that I couldn't find a link so I could display my latest work, the Aquarian Holy Book of Women's Mysteries. This is just gorgeous, and my mother's art is in front of every chapter. Mm-hmm. The first time my mom and I created a whole thing together. She did the art and I kept the words. And it's huge. This book is very big because they use the big letters and very, very elderly friendly. Also, anybody who has fun to read. Mm-hmm. And it's available online. Amazon sells them, and Hulu sells them. I'm gonna create little short films teaching from it to show people how it should be used. And it's for those of us who think that, yes, there are new generations coming and they will also like to pray to the old gods and goddesses, and not just gnashing our teeth and full of resentment put up with the Christians who are now openly pedophiles.
Right.
They just openly pedophiles, and we have a huge, big, really a sexual predator for president, and whoever put it there curses on you.
Yeah.
Put all of that to force death on us, and hurting little children, sexing up the altar boys and girls and the nuns especially. And actually, that comes when you go against nature. When you say nobody has any sex because sex is bad, and you are not going to get an off on anything. You have to suffer. Suffering is good for you because we're so dangerous and we are so bad. And you just raise generations of masochists, and there's never any shortage of sadism. And you look at the image of their God, it's so sad. Like there is a son crucified in the worst way, and then you learn from their big book that daddy wanted him to die like that.
Lady Medea, can I ask you a question?
Please go ahead.
Is Dionysus the same archetype of Yeshua?
Dionysus is a good son, the pagan sacred son. And he's devoted, he loves the earth. He lives outdoors. He doesn't live in buildings. And he is, it's a priesthood. And there were several priesthoods devoted to him. They were all into dancing. And these priests who were dancers had bells on their legs, and they would dance around the fields for a good harvest, and also for good weather and plenty for protecting the crops from pestilence. And they were actually hardworking, magical people. And then on certain times, like in midsummer, both sexes would come together and go wild in nature, getting high on whatever they had at the time. They had fermented male's milk, for example, my people who were horse people. We were on top of horses more than our feet. And of course, normal wines. And then we made lots of other, like from fruits, we made the schnapps. Excuse me, I have a sneeze coming up. Okay, sorry. My dog opened up the door to the backyard a little bit more. Sorry. Anyway.
And I do apologize. In the background, we're building a sanctuary for the goddess in Georgia. And so there's like chainsaws going where we're building like yurts out back. So I do apologize for the noise.
No, I didn't have nothing. I don't hear any of it.
Lady Medea, can I ask you another question?
Yes, darling. Go ahead.
Who has been your patron goddess, and has it changed throughout your life?
Well, my matriarch, my great goddess mother is the Boldogasszony. That's her name. Boldog means glad, and asszony means woman. The glad woman. And the glad woman is not a Christian goddess or pre-Christian goddess.
Right.
She is the earth goddess. Every season belongs to her. We still have, when you walk around just in the countryside, there are little natural altars erected for the Boldogasszony, also because they really live there and not now. To us, death is just another world. We don't believe that that's nothingness and nothing happens,
right,
because you can turn to your own ancestors and they are not sleeping. They may be at peace, but they are not sleeping. And they understand time and age, and they are not. They are very intelligent as
right,
they were in life on the other side. In fact, they see more. They see everything. They are everywhere. So no matter where you are, temple, in the woods, blade of grass, you can pray to all your ancestors because they are.
Lady Medea,
yeah.
I did have somebody come up on the streams of the Witchcraft TV, the interview, and our mutual friend Christian Day is here,
Okay.
and we couldn't get video because she is unable to read the Facebook or the Gmail and all those things. But I just wanted to welcome you and everything, and I wanted to just talk about your path, and I think your path is very important, especially to document the Dianic traditions of the craft.
Yes.
And I have a mutual friend here, Christian Day. Christian Day, thank you so much for joining the streams.
I just wanted to come in and say hi to Z, but I can't see you.
Right.
I know.
I was trying to get her on video.
We just didn't. I just, Google hates me.
Oh, technology is.
To my email even often, and I have to do all these things for them, give them answers, and then they say, no, that's not it. It doesn't match what we have in the file, and the file, and the file, and I'm thinking, you just idiots.
Christian, Mr. Day, I've seen so many different elders in the craft that have been, they're not used to the newer technology. And I've seen this happen with Phaedra Bonowitz, where she just couldn't acknowledge the technology and everything.
I have been a web developer and designer for over 30 years, and I can't keep up with the technology.
You're right.
It doesn't change. I just wanted to say to Z, I said, I came on and I wanted to say, how does it feel? We are the two most canceled witches in history, and here we are.
Right. Here we are.
I like that laugh.
Well, I think I was saying, when the nuclear, when the
I look at it is, we have just begun. We have just begun, and I asked the goddess, could I have 10 more years? That would make me the Betty White of the pagan community. And I don't know what they say. I just accept whatever they give me. I'm just grateful that I'm mobile. I'm writing. I'm creating. I will create 2 shorts every week, and I would like to start a master class for women to learn how to lead other women in a spiritual experience, because that's all there is. A priestess is able to take a group of people who never met before and lead them through exercises and guided meditation to a place in the brain where you can actually meet your ancestors and talk to your dead mother, talk to your uncle, whoever, and suddenly you lose your fear of death. Death is not a problem. Death is another life. Suffering is a problem. I'm totally against suffering. Suffering is the problem. The other side, my mom is on the other side, and she uses clowns instead of clay now, and she creates all kinds of images for me. I come out with my dog early in the morning or late at night, and then she manages interesting sky images for me. And the Grandpa Geza speaks to me in my brain as clear as if he was in the room with me. And I appreciate not being afraid of dying, because I'm getting closer and closer to it. 85 now, and I feel very happy and grateful, very grateful that I have my faculties. I learned how to drive at age 23, and at 85 I'm still driving. I had one weird, it wasn't an accident, it was just a happening. We call it an accident, and now I have to deal with it, but essentially
Lady Medea, a lot of leaders and contemporary leaders in America and beyond try to have organizations and blogs to try to bring the witchcraft community together. How can we truly bring the witchcraft community together on a world stage? And are we tribal and it just will never happen?
You can't.
It will only happen if the male leaders step aside and let female leaders step in. Get the grandmothers up front.
Yes.
The grandmothers have more authority than anyone else. And it's all about ego. I mean, come on, boys. The fact that you don't want a woman to tell you what to do, it's not a woman, it's a goddess. We manifest her. We are also individuals, but the goddess is represented by us because we do a hard work for her. We continue our human race. And so we do the man, but we do the heavy lifting, as you well know. And then what we have to do is not attack each other's theology, but what about taking over a very large camp, beautiful wood, and say that we are creating a huge, huge round table where we put food out and we eat together. That's how it happens. Cohesiveness for our species is eating. You come together, and all the women would bring something that they created, and all the men would bring something that they like to eat or drink. And then we would have a pleasant time, at which time we would discuss why are we so scared of each other and what is at stake. And what is at stake pretty well that we are not role modeling a good way for humans to become and live together with more peace, because the real God in our society is still money. And I don't know if anybody thought about creating something else for money, but there was a time when money was just coral shells, or money was just pearls from the ocean, or sweetwater pearls, when the money was just very pretty coins with pictures on it of our leaders and goddesses. So it has to be something women are good at, creating family. And then there ought to be some inspirational poetry that they would recite, which in certain ways actually survived in my country. When we go to kiddie camp in the summertime, the first thing we have to do is memorize poetry, because we be called on to recite it to the group at that place where we are going in the many camps. But in our camp, there was always recitations of sacred poetry, and that kind of took you elsewhere in your mind and in your soul. And my holy book is full of poetry like that. It's worthy to know that one of them is the song of the sacred woman, the holy woman. It's actually from Siberia, where the word shaman comes from, and
Right.
it was in a language that I have not known before. I mean, I still don't, but the Hungarian somehow translated it into Hungarian, and I took it from Hungarian and translated it into English, and it's wonderful because there's parts where everybody says, I, spirit woman, men and women, and we just call on the spirit in us. And the spirit doesn't have genitals. So we don't have to worry about, did you call my spirit with the wrong prefix?
Z, are you there?
That's just silly. Okay.
Can she hear me?
I find here to read for you.
Oh, is she not able to hear me?
So much. I'm so glad that I did this with my mom. And
it might be a tech issue. Christian Day wants to know if you can hear him, and he is on the other line, and he is addressing you, and I'd like to be the messenger.
all right.
Oh, can she not hear me?
I can hear you, but not too well. So
Okay.
if you
I'll talk a little louder.
Cool.
I have found, and my husband Brian Kane really summed this up in a great way, that there have been three factors to some of the issues that we face in community, and one is certainly money. I have certainly found, as a successful person, people often look at me and think, oh, how do I take that? But I've also found there are two other factors, as Brian kind of put it in this 3-bullet list as well, that we are a religion in its nascent stages, at least in its modern incarnation. And so just like the early church, you've got all these people wanting to define it, and they're willing to go to war over it. And then you have this other factor, which is kind of what I'm dealing with right now. Even though it looks like a business dispute, the people don't actually make any money. It's people that are using money they already have to buy fame and notoriety, which is weird because as someone like you and I know, you don't look for it. It comes to you from the work. But people that want to buy into that, become dissenters. And, both you and I have been the target of this. Obviously we rise above it and continue to do the work. But it has been a challenge to community, I think.
Yes. there was always something we exchanged which we viewed as money. I'm sure of it. It has, in fact, unfortunately, sometimes views people as money. Oh, I give you my daughter if you do this and that and that, or I take my daughter back, or my son. So we need a lot of consciousness raising about who are we as animals. You look at the animal queendom, and you don't see anybody there who beats up their mothers. There's nobody. Nobody.
Some of them eat their young.
Sorry. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's too much violence against the female. And what happens from that? You get unhappy women. They are not going to make happy children. So we just pass down the pain and nobody wins. It's just unhappy women, unhappy country.
Lady Medea, how do we bring back the matriarch?
When we treat women, and we just really just now started going to higher learning universities. We were not even allowed, even in my lifetime. My grandmother's age group still didn't have access to universities, but my aunt, my grandmother's other child, did go to pharmaceutical learning, and they owned a drugstore. So it was really important that we train our own pharmacists from the family. It was a drugstore, yes, but we made our own medicine from herbs, and we depended on the earth to give us what we needed. For example, okay, I'm just going to pick one thing. We all know about aspirin comes from willow bark, right? But what we don't so much know is Queen Anne's lace, which is everywhere, that very, very much looks like hemlock, but it's not. You can only tell who is who by smelling them. Hemlock is very different smell. The seed of Queen Anne's lace, taken every day just a little bit, is birth control. Birth control, ladies. We don't have to take pills for that. It is all around us. You gather those seeds, you put them in a big jar, and take a little bit as you live your life. Then there are also herbs and seeds to take to be fertile. Turn it all around. So that's what we've been doing. With my family is herbalists, and later we had a big drugstore at the end before the Russians came and took it all away. So education for everyone, honoring people who are artists, artistic achievement, because that's for the soul. It feeds the soul to hear poetry, beautiful prose, a good song. It feeds the soul, and we need to feed the soul just like we feed our stomach. And if you ignore your soul, you feel empty inside, and you won't know how to get yourself out of depression. And too much depression causes ulcers, and you lose all your friends. Nobody wants to be around a bummer. And these are just the building stones of the temple of sanity. You have to mind the mind. You have to tend to the self-esteem. I teach everyone to kiss your own hands 3 times every morning. Thank you, body. Thank you, body, for waking up in the morning to take me out to walk my dogs. Thank you for that. Thank you for leading me to cook something that I actually would eat. And thank you for the sunshine. You know, gratitude, it's another food for the spirit. And then somebody does something good for you, you have to be grateful, however small it may be. And you want to give back. Now, here is something I experienced when the Ukrainians were shown on TV how they are leaving their country. Out out. We're going to have a war here. I don't want any females get ill because females are the future. Little boys also the future. Everybody out. And how do they leave? They take their old dogs on their backs, and that's how they left. And I thought, this is a very decent, great country. Decent people. When they save themselves, they save everyone they love. Cats are coming. Dogs are coming. Old people are coming. Old ladies are coming. They actually help each other to live and go back eventually to repopulate. Now, something in me said, oh, why do I love them so much? It's because I'm like that. I escaped from the Russians myself. It's not easy. I was 16 years old and I just watched them murder 4 of my classmates just because we marched to the parliament and we chanted there, Ruski go home. That was our big line. And Ruskis kind of, ever since the WW2 was over, they still didn't go home. And they just exploited us. They were driving cars, and if they hit a kid and killed somebody, it was no problem because they were the occupiers. They had to shut up about it. And I looked at all the dead people just strewn around on the beautiful boulevards. And normally there would be music, and there would be lovers in the doorways, and very, very sexy city, my city, Budapest. They just, we learned everything about sex by being outdoors, everything. And I love that about us, that we are very joyous. We are also very drunk. We look at wine and alcohol like vitamins, which they are not. But we even call it vitamins. And we give children wine whenever they ask for it. And so it is a problem eventually because a lot of us die of alcoholism. And my father died. My father's cook died because of it. And I just didn't see any future in that country where they have positioned their soldiers on top of the Galilean mountain, which is overlooking all the Danube, the settlements next to the river, which is where people like to build, next to water. And I saw that they mercilessly killed whoever moved because they had the long distance vision of their guns, and they could actually accurately kill us from far away. And the other thing I noticed that they used outlawed bullets that explode on contact, which means that they just touch you, they haven't penetrated you, but then they blow up so bad that they just rip every cell out of your body, inside and outside, and you are dead. Or they can hardly find all your parts. A big explosive. And that was outlawed at the Geneva Convention. The Russians give a shit about any kind of agreement of civilization. And I thought, no, thank you, I'm leaving. I cannot live here. No, this country does not able to protect her children, and I don't feel safe here in my own neighborhood. And I don't know when these Ruskies will go home, but I'm going now. I'm leaving now. And I told my mom, and she said, well, at least you learn other languages. I said, Mom, how come you're not fully up like everybody else's mother? Well, she said, because we live in a world and you need to know more languages, and I know you will be okay. She blessed me before I left. She gave me all her change and all her leftover forints. The money was absolutely useless post-war. Money didn't get you anything to eat. The only thing we had were wedding rings and golden chains around their neck, and they actually everybody just had to bargain with their jewelry. And so after this experience, when I watched little old ladies standing in line for bread, and then the Ruskies just mowed them down as if it was a combat group. And little granny just bled to death. And it was horrible. It was really, really sad and horrible. And the betrayal of my beloved people. We were so proud to be Magyars, a minority containing our own culture, language, past, proud, in a sea of Slavic nations and Germanic people and even Latin people. And we were surrounded with a lot of Slavic people, and then Austria with the German, Germanic people, and then we were very close to Italy. So, yes, I decided to walk out 250 kilometers. It was a full moon, it was November, and I prayed to Grandma. I said, Grandma, I need you bad, really bad. I have to leave. I cannot stay here. There's no future here for me. And I felt very good. Suddenly just felt good. I know she heard me, Grandma loved me. And the next morning, before the sun totally came up, it was still dark, I started walking towards Austria. And it took me a day and a half to get to the border. Along the way, there was one night I spent and slept in a haystack. At 16, this was actually an adventure. It was terrifying, but it was an adventure at the same time.
Christian, you had something to ask?
I just wanted to say goodbye because I mentioned before, Harold, I don't know if you heard me, but I have to go to dinner. But I just wanted to thank you, Z. I really feel like you've just been a great resource, not only to women everywhere and women of magic, but to people everywhere. And some of us still do value our grandmothers.
All people are our products.
Huh?
All the people are women's products. We make people from scratch.
You do, and we love you for it. And I just wanted to say I love you, and
I thank you for that, because you and I had a bit of a past, and I congratulate you on your powers of organizing very large pagan community events. And I'm doing it for women, but not that large, because I don't think I can mobilize that many women as you have. But what a joy that you do that, and now you are being considered a great teacher also for young women. And that's what we need, more leaders.
Yes,
from
he
both
is.
sexes, more leaders who are manifesting a loving, inclusive goddess. And you may not see yourself as a goddess, that's all right, but you are. And you look at animals and look how they live, and every species that actually survived all the changes that came over this planet, the ice ages, the famines, all of those who survived were matriarchies.
Right.
All of these.
well,
All right, that was Z Budapest, who is more respectfully addressed as Lady Medea, and that was Christian Day, and we had a small conversation about the craft and its very diverse traditions. And we are fair representation of all pagan, witch, and magic paths. And it was a great honor to speak with a crone of the Dianic traditions right here in America, and also a privilege to have Christian Day on here on the network that's always supportive, with him doing great things for all genders and all people. So keep it right here on Witchcraft TV, because we are fair representation of all pagan, witch, and magic paths.